Wait, I'm one. Okay. Welcome to Finance Committee of the 22nd of May. We could have a roll call, please.
Mr. Dunno,
Present.
Mr. Swanson, Mr. Hess, Ms. Polk,
Present.
Mr. Seroy, Ms. Weber, Ms. Parker, Mr. Miller, Mr. Hunter, Ms. Foster, Ms. Armour Earps, Mr. Marion, Mr. Lowy,
Present.
Mr. Alexander Hildebrand, Mr. Long. We do have a quorum.
We have a quorum? Lovely. Okay. I see no public comment, so we're going to move on. I have a motion to approve the minutes from March the 20th, 25, and April the 17th of 25. First by Lowy, second by Miller. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Motion carries. Good deal. Next, we're going to go to a presentation here, the MC2 Electric Aggregation Program. Eric's going to talk first. Yeah. Okay, very good.
So this is Adam Hoover from MC Squared Electric, or MC Squared Energy. He's going to outline for you guys the electric aggregation program for the county. We last did this in 2023.
I think last year, 2024.
Was it 2024?
Yeah.
Okay. We've been doing this since 2012. And so he's going to kind of go over the proposal that he has outlined for you guys and the good news with the civic contribution that they are presenting to us.
Yep.
Cheers, Adam.
Just as a reminder, aggregation is the ability, and it's a state-approved program. It was passed by voter referendum in 2012, and it allows the county to provide a different electric supplier alternative for residents. It gives every resident, just to be clear, the ability to opt in or opt out at any point without any fees, no tricks or any questions like that. We used to be able to save money for residents, so if the comment rate was 9 cents, we could find a rate at 7 cents. We can no longer do that. To be clear, we always check. That is priority number one. I want to be very clear. Saving residents money is priority number one. We can't do that with the market. I could bore you with details of why. So the current program that's running is a price match program. Residents who are with MC Squared pay the exact same rate as ComEd. There is no savings. There is no extra cost to residents. And currently, the county receives a civic contribution of $36,000 annually, and your program expires in the fall. And so we are looking to renew, and due to the market, and once again I could bore you with details, the civic contribution has been upped to $72,000, so it's a good thing. The one big difference and the kind of new thing a lot of our programs are doing is anytime you renew a program, letters have to go out to all residents, and we understand that creates confusion, which I will work with the county staff as always to help with those questions. But just the only downside of the program is just kind of the letters that go out. What we've done with other towns is kind of create a 6-year program. And in actuality, it's really a bunch of 2-year programs. So it would be a 2-year program where you could opt in, or you could, at the end of 2 years, you could either exit the program or renew the program. There is no change. It's really just a 2-year deal. But if you renew the program, the state doesn't count that as a new term. And so you wouldn't have to send letters to every single resident. So in short, I recommend a longer term deal. To be clear, in a year or two, you guys can get out of the program with no penalties. You can exit the program. We can go find different suppliers. You have all the same options. But it just, if we're going to be doing these price match programs again and again, which is what the market is doing, it lowers the amount of communication needed, which is, in my opinion, the only downside of the program. And to be clear as well, you can also just do a normal 1 or 2 year deal, like always, and we can move on from there. So that to me, I was kind of talking with the staff, that's kind of maybe the only real big difference that we're kind of recommending, but we are open here. We're here for questions or concerns, and we're here to answer any questions you have.
Yes, Ms. Foster.
Good morning. Is this a county-wide program for all residents?
Correct.
Okay.
Not every resident is automatically included in it. So if you have solar, or you have on the ComEd hourly program, or you've chosen a different supplier, you are not included in the program. And residents, like I've said, since we've been running it for a while, have opted out. So not everyone is with MC Squared. Everyone's kind of on their own plan, but many are with MC Squared is kind of the safest way. I can say that to you. Mm-hmm. The city also runs the same program.
Yes, Mr. Hunter.
No downside.
In my opinion, yes. The short answer is yes, but the letters to me is the only downside, and we help with that.
You pay for it, or you say you help? with it?
The supplier, MC Squared, does. I'm not a supplier. I'm a consultant for. I'm not with MC Squared technically. I'm kind of in, but
So we're not encumbered.
you will never pay a cent.
Right.
Yep, you'll never pay a cent.
Any other questions? Anything from you two?
I just make a motion to do a 6-year deal, and then we could come back in 2 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so first I got a second. I got a thumbs up in the back. Okay. Oh. What number are you?
7.
Thank you. 7.
I would make a motion to do a 6-year deal, and then if we could look at our options in 2 years and figure out where we want to go from there.
So a motion to move forward with the 6-year deal. I have a second from Hunter. Okay. You know, let's go ahead. Any more discussion? No? Let's go ahead and do a roll call vote.
Okay, Mr. Dunno,
Aye.
Mr. Hess, Ms. Polk,
Aye.
Ms. Weber, Ms. Parker, Mr. Miller, Mr. Hunter, Ms. Foster, Mr. Lowy,
Aye.
Mr. Alexander Hildebrand.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Very good. Motion carries. Good deal. Thank you. Okay. Well, let's move on then to the auditor. I see him coming. While he is coming up here, I have a motion to approve March and April monthly claims. First by Hunter, second by Alawi. And then we'll let him talk, and then we'll vote. Okay.
Good morning, good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, and the public. Your monthly claims are before you for April. The only highlights I really have are the monthly claims are higher due to the election. So you'll see election judges and polling places in your packet, and also the moving around of some ARPA funds, as you can see through fund codes 095 and 098. So that's why you're at $12,624,268.95 for this month. And through the office, we had 852 claims.
Okay. Do any questions? No? Okay. Well, we have a motion and a second on the table. Roll call vote.
Mr. Dunno,
Aye.
Mr. Hess, Ms. Polk, Ms. Polk,
She seems to be stuck. Frozen. She's frozen.
Ms. Weber, Ms. Parker, Mr. Miller, Mr. Hunter, Ms. Foster, Mr. Lowy,
Aye.
Mr. Alexander Hildebrand.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Motion carries.
Ms. Polk,
Okay.
You're good.
We have 8,
You got-
so we're
Yep.
good. Okay.
Yep, you're good.
Very good. Anything else for us?
Yeah, so this month we had 22 claims that were, they had a lot of corrections. So year to date, we are at 73. We still have 6 pending claims, 5 claims that had sales tax, and 1 that has past due fees that we're still working out on. To yesterday's point, if you're on the executive committee, first I'd like to thank the executive committee for their support in the travel policy updates and changes. Ms. Weber, to your point yesterday, we did get the claim back from the office that was in question. They agreed with us that the dollar amount shouldn't have been the dollar amount for the reimbursement. So that one is cleared up. We have been in communication with 3 vendors in regards to the centralized purchasing program that I talked to you about 2 months ago. 2 vendors we had really good phone calls with yesterday. I gave them, so over the last month we've been working with trying to get all the data and all of our purchasing power from our 4 main vendors to drive down the prices. I think I reported back to you guys last month that we're quoted right now at $39.50 for a case of paper, which would save us off of a pallet nearly $600 per pallet that we'd purchase. So my goal is to bring this back to the committee next month, still have conversations with Chairman Alexander and Vice Chair Long, and then start the process hopefully for July, as long as we select a vendor that is appropriate and will give us the most cost savings, the bang for our buck. So if there's no other questions,
Anybody else? No? We're good?
All right, thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Colton. Appreciate it. Okay. Move on to the treasurer's office. And while he's coming up here, I have a motion to combine and approve the treasurer's reports from February, March, and April of 25, the county collector's reports of February, March, and April of 25, and monthly resolutions for April and May of 25. First by Weber, second by Parker. Okay. That is a voice vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Very good. I'm good, Nick. How are you?
Well, I can go next. Yeah, why don't you go there? You want to see the people first or what?
I'm gonna talk about it. Thank you. So, as many people know probably, tax bills were mailed on Monday and are being paid, thankfully. Microphone?
Yep. Microphone.
I heard the sheriff back there without a microphone. Tax bills have been mailed and have been received, I think, by most people. We received, today is Thursday, I believe on Wednesday we received almost or over $250,000 online. So we're in the thick of it. Taxes are coming in and they will be paid till June 26th. The levy this year jumped a fair amount. It's about 245 million. Interestingly enough, the levies as a whole went down, the percentages, but the values went up. And so that was what made for the larger total amount. I think it's important that people understand too that the county is one levy out of, for argument's sake, 200 taxing districts, 204, 205, and the levy for the county, I would have to look exactly, but a little over 20 million, right? So not 10% of the total levy. So I think sometimes that's confused for people what the levy is. I cast no aspersions by this comment, but the levies are always, your largest levies are schools. They just are. So, for instance, I think we don't levy, obviously, the treasurer's office doesn't levy, but we take part of the money that's levied for the county, and exactly maybe 270,000 out of a levy of 245 million. So, to give you some perspective, I think if you looked at your tax bill and you did the quick math, you'd find that pensions for schools and schools in general probably between the 75 and 85% number for total taxes. And I only say that for information. So that leads me to something we started this year, which is new. We started a review process. How can we do better? How can we be better for the people we serve? And so I passed out cards, and this card gets given to you with every transaction at our counter, and it basically says, how did we do today? And if you read in the back, it says, basically that customer service is, our feedback is the key to good customer service. There's a QR code, it's my name on here, and tell us how we did. And that QR code and the URL, which is the web address, takes you to a website that I developed just for this feedback. I'm sorry, I'm using a computer that's not mine, so bear with me. So when you come onto this computer, when you come onto this website, this is what you see. And it couldn't be more simple. How was your experience today?
Are you guys talking to the mic, please?
Oh, sorry. How was your experience at our office? If you say excellent or good, I will choose one so you can see.
I just did excellent on my phone.
Oh, you did?
Oh yeah, quick.
So if you do excellent or
I know.
good, thank you. Aaron,
I don't
for
have to
saying
come into your
excellent.
office, so it's excellent.
Right. And you click this, it asks you to go out and review us on Google. And if you click Google, it'll take you to where our website is in terms of reviews.
Nick, the folks that don't come
Sorry.
into your office,
Yes, we're going to put a.
how does that?
We are going to put a link on our website to ask the same questions, something that does the exact same thing. And I'm sorry, this is slow for me. Where's the back button? Okay. I'm not used to Windows.
There's not going to be a back button because you're in a new tab.
I can use the mouse? Okay, Jason, thank you. That is on the slow side. Jason, you're done? Yeah, please. In any case, I'll leave it at that. So, good, excellent, tells you thank you. Will you go out and review us? Average, fair, poor, comes up with a contact form and asks you about what the problem was. And that comes to me directly. And then I will address those issues with the customer myself. So obviously my taxes are too high. I suspect we will get a fair amount of those. And I will explain to them that I don't set rates. It's the greatest political trick in the world. Someone else sets the rates and give them to me to collect. What a great concept. But obviously, if someone wants to talk to someone, we're here to listen, and that's my job. And so the idea is, let's put it out there. I just needed to go back one screen. Okay, one more. Sorry.
Now you have a back button.
Okay. Thank you, Jason. I'm usually pretty good. So average. Okay, see it says then click here. We're sorry we didn't meet your expectations. If you click here, here's your form. Please rate your experience. There's a contact form on the whole thing, so you can hit contact at any time to ask us any question. But the idea is tell us what we did right, tell us what we did wrong. We're not afraid of that. We think that encouraging the public sector to act a little bit more like the private sector. Ratings in the private sector are everything, right? Can make or break a business. And we think that we should be held to that same standard. And so that's why we've started that this year. Many businesses that I've worked for and with, we do the same thing. And we ask people, how did we do today? And what could we have done better? And we'll build from that. So this is the first year. I'm excited to see if it bears fruit, and we'll move from here. Steve, Member Hunter.
Mr. Hunter.
Mr. Hunter.
Thank you very much, Chairman.
Thank you.
Yeah, it depends on the feedback you get, but how often will you make an assessment based on the feedback?
Depends on, I hate to answer that this way,
Because
but
it depends on what kind of feedback you
depends
get.
on the feedback. If there's something that's obviously fixable right away and is incredibly important, immediately. But the feedback will come to me in real time.
It's a good idea. I think it's pretty good.
I appreciate that. I mean, we're gonna hear some things we don't want to hear, but that's the whole point. I mean, I think we know what we do right. We'd like to know when we do something that doesn't seem right. And obviously, paying your taxes is not one of your most favorite things to do. And I should probably say this. I say this all the time. We love to see people, so it's fine. Come in. right? That's great. But there are so many other ways to pay your taxes if you don't know. First of all, you can pay them at any bank except PNC, which I've said now for 8 years, in their drive-thru, right? Couldn't be easier. You don't have to be a member of their bank. You don't have to be a member of the credit union. You just drive in, get your tax bill, your check, put it in the drive-thru, and you're done. You can mail it, put it in the drop box outside in front of the building. You can pay it online, or you can come in. It's your choice, but there are lots of ways to do it, and clearly the easiest way is through a drive-thru, and the hardest way is to stand in line. But obviously that's the customer's choice. Questions?
Yes, Mr. Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I see if they select average or below, then you ask for more input or feedback. I might suggest that if they choose something higher than that, you might say, what are we doing great? Just to figure out what's most popular, what are they enjoying the most out of your office.
Good point. Thank you. Ms. Foster.
Yes, Miss Foster.
Good morning. I was wondering, are the cards in Spanish as well?
They are. And our website, it's not there yet, but it is soon to be there. Would just be a click of a button that would translate the whole website into Spanish. The main Treasurer's website.
Very good.
Which is very easy these days. Sheriff, have a question for me?
No, I think he's going away from you right now. So, yeah. Anything else, Nick?
No.
Appreciate
Thank
this.
you.
Thank you. Always love when people work to get better. So,
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a good one.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks,
Okay.
man.
Let's move on to finance department here. Mr. McCarty. Okay. Morning.
Good morning. I'm going to my regulars. I'm gonna hook this up for Carmen though.
Okay.
I understand that we might lose a quorum. We have a voting thing, so if we could amend the.
Yes. Could I have a motion to? I know what you want to move up
for the ARPA resolution.
Yeah. Have a motion to move the amend ARPA resolution 2024-12-10-180 up. First by Hunter, second by Lowy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Motion carries. So let's move to the ARPA resolution, please.
Yeah. So the ARPA resolution is for the Elara mechanical bid for $100,000 that they did for the HVAC replacement. Basically very simple. We need to add Fund 095 to that resolution. So I'll work with the state's attorney's office to add that, because it is an ARPA expense, but we failed to get ARPA on there on the original. So
we just failed to write ARPA on there and the
fund.
Okay.
And that's what we need to do. So
okay.
We'll bring that to the full board just as a amending.
We need a roll call that? No. Might as well.
We're not spending any money. Well, we're not spending any more money, but from the original. But
it's all fine. Yeah.
Might want to be safe than sorry.
I have a motion to approve that amendment. First by Weber, second by Miller. Okay, let's do a roll call vote.
Mr. Dunno?
Aye.
Mr. Hess? Aye. Ms. Polk?
Aye.
Ms. Weber? Aye. Ms. Parker? Mr. Miller?
Aye.
Mr. Hunter? Ms. Foster? Aye. Mr. Lowy?
Aye.
Mr. Alexander Hildebrand?
Aye.
Motion carries. Very good. Thank you. Okay.
All right, then I'd like to introduce Carmen Heisinger from SKDO. She's here to do an annual report from this year's audit. I'm going to sneak. John, can I have a copy of that, please?
Good morning. Like you said, I'm Carmen Heisinger from SKDO, and I'm one of the shareholders there. I've been working on the county audit for a long time now. So I'm going to give you the highlights. We are not quite finished with the audit, so this is all still in draft form, but we are in the final stages of reviewing and tying everything down to have a final, hopefully by the end of next week. So I'm just going to go over a few of the highlights with you. Regarding our auditor's opinion, that's our main job of doing the audit, is to render an opinion on your financial statements to say whether they're materially correct. And we will be saying they are materially correct. So it's an unmodified opinion. We did note one material weakness in internal control over financial reporting. That was regarding the bank reconciliations at the circuit clerk. As you all know, they did a significant implementation of a new system, and since that implementation they've run into a lot of challenges and they've not been able to get their bank accounts reconciled. So we worked with them. We think we're in a good spot now. Going forward, they'll be able to reconcile every month timely. So we're also still working on the single audit. That's the federal grant compliance piece of the audit. The grants that we're specifically looking at are the ARPA grants, as well as the Workforce Investment Act funds. As far as other communications that will come to you, there will be a communications to governance, so that will go to the whole entire board. Any recommendations or just basically information on how the audit went and things that we feel the board needs to know will be communicated to you in that letter. As far as the financials go, in your packet that was handed out, I included the front pages of the financial statements, so about 9 pages of numbers. I can just go over quick highlights of those. The first 2 pages are what we call the entity-wide financial statements. So it's a very high-level summarized view of the county, and it's split into governmental activities, which is your general fund and all the special funds, and then the business type activities is separately, and that consists of ETSB and animal control. So the total net position of the county, which is basically like the equity position of the county, is about $78.2 million. That's a slight decrease over the prior year of $2.7 million. As far as capital assets and long-term liabilities, the entity-wide financial statements present long-term liabilities and capital assets, where the fund statements that you're seeing every month or on a regular basis do not include those. That's a governmental accounting standards reporting method. So for capital assets, some of the highlights are that the animal control building was completed during fiscal year 24. And also leases and IT subscriptions are now included in your capital assets. So that's a new accounting standard that came out a couple years ago. This is actually the first year that the counties had significant things to be reported in that category. So one of the big ones was the circuit clerk software system that was implemented. So that is showing as a subscription asset, and then it's also showing as a subscription liability in your long-term liabilities. So just something a little different. And then if there's long-term operating leases, same thing. It will show as a right to use asset in your capital assets and a long-term liability in the liability section. As far as long-term liabilities go, during the year or the fiscal year ending 24, the 2011, the 2012, and the 2012 A bonds were paid off. So the health department building bonds and then the 22 bonds that funded the animal control building are the only bonds remaining on the books. So more progress made there. I know in the year before the 2009 bonds were paid off, so there's not too much left. The pension liability was also included in long-term liabilities. This is an actuarial calculation, so there's a lot of volatility in this number. This year, the total pension liability was $18.5 million compared to $28.1 last year. Like I said, lots of volatility in that. Basically, they're looking at all of the service that's been provided, and then they're guessing long-term how much you're actually going to have to pay out in IMRF or other post-employment benefits. for those hours of service that everybody is currently providing to the county. And then also compensated absences are included in the long-term liability. So again, that's an estimate of how much of the sick time and vacation time and all of that will be used long-term. So that is the statement of net position, which in your packet was page 1. Page 2 is your statement of activities, and this is a little bit different format than what you're used to of maybe an income statement if you're used to looking at business type income statements, but it starts with expenses and then it's offset by charges for services as far as revenues, and then it comes down to a net expense number, and then you see how much has to be funded by general revenues and taxes. So that's the general format of that. Basically, the activity or the totals were very consistent with past years. Public safety is the largest function of the county, and then that's followed by court services, transportation, and general government. Governmental activities decreased in net position by 7.6 million. Business type increased by about 4.9 million. A significant portion of that was the animal control building. It was being funded, or the expenses were being recorded in a capital projects fund, which is governmental activities. Upon the completion of that building, it was transferred over to animal control because now they are maintaining and I guess owning or holding that asset. So increase in business type activities was basically because we moved over that capital asset to them, and then the decrease, a big portion of the decrease in governmental is because they got rid of that asset and moved it over there. Starting on page 3 are the fund financial statements. So these are presented in a major fund format. Take the biggest funds basically, or funds that the county has chosen to present individually, and then all the remaining funds are lumped together. So the general fund, pension fund, county highway, county bridge, and the ARPA funds are the major ones that have been presented, and this is similar to the last few years, so no changes there. ETSB on the business type side is also a major fund. So the combined general fund ended with a positive fund balance of 15.9 million. Tort fund is included in general fund for financial statement purposes, so that's just a note there. But the general fund excluding tort did increase its fund balance by almost $1 million in 2024, and this is the 6th consecutive year that the fund balance in the general fund has grown. So I don't know how many of you were around 8 to 10 years ago, but the general fund was in a very precarious state. And so I think that's good that we can see that general fund balance consistently increasing. A couple other highlights. I mean, revenues and expenses really in the general fund, or overall for all of the governmental funds, stayed very consistent compared to the prior year. No significant balances. Inmate revenues decreased in FY24 compared to the prior year, but it was offset by an increase in grants and other reimbursements. So the total, I guess, stayed consistent year over year. Capital outlay expenditures increased by 2.5 million. As far as the enterprise funds go, those start on page 5. So that's your ETSB and animal control again. There's a statement of net position, which is like a balance sheet, and then a statement of revenues and expenditures, and that's like the income statement, and then there is a cash flow statement as well. Not too much to note there. Basically, that capital asset building that transferred in is the biggest news there. Following that are the fiduciary funds of the county. So these are funds that are custodial in nature, and they are not used for the general operations of the county. So some more significant of those funds include the county collector, the circuit clerk, the county clerk, the sheriff commissary. As you heard from Nick earlier, the county collector fund, has $200 and some million flowing through it in and out. And then of course, circuit clerk, county clerk, and sheriff commissary are also pretty big. Once the final report is complete, there will be disclosures, footnotes for the financial statements explaining the accounting policies in more detail about the numbers that are in the financials. There will be budgetary comparisons included. There will be combining statements to show all of the individual funds that were non-major and how they roll up to the front, and then statistical information as well. And for the past several years, the county has applied for the Certificate of Reporting Excellence through the Government Finance Officers Association, and they will be applying for that again this year. So that's in motion. Once it's all said and done, the full county report ends up being around 160 pages with all of that information in there. So if you want to know something about the finance, you might be able to find it in that 160-page report. So, like I said earlier, we're working on that single audit. So that report has yet to be issued. And then the courts system in the state of Illinois, also the administrative office of the courts, I believe it's called, they require a compliance audit for the circuit clerk. So once the county audit is done, we can issue that audit and say that the numbers in that report are materially correct in relation to the full county audit that was issued. So that is yet to be finalized as well. So that's really all I have for the highlights. If anybody has any questions, you're welcome to ask, but I just want to thank the county board for giving us the opportunity to do the audit and be involved in our community, and also the finance department for all the work that they do to help us put all this stuff together, and then other department heads that provide a lot of information to us. So,
okay. Questions? No, we're good. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, Rosemary Foster.
Once the complete audit is done and sent in, will we get another mini overview like today?
Well, I'm actually on vacation during the June meeting, so I probably wouldn't be able to present something in person, but I could relay anything else to Steve if you think it's appropriate, or if you have specific questions.
Yeah, we'll issue the full report to all of the board members, and if you have any questions, we could cover it next month as well, next finance.
And then I think eventually the county finance department also posts the full report to the website, so that's available to the public as well.
Very good. Anybody else? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it. Okay, let's move on to miscellaneous financial reports.
All right. Yeah, I included, before we jump in, I included a piece of information that I found. So our use tax came in at 13,000 again. So I'm like, okay, what is going on with this? Well, I found it. The state did make a change. So use tax will forever be different than what it was before, because it is now distributed based on where it took place, similar to sales tax, where before all use tax went into a pool and was distributed by your population. So as of January 1st, that changed. So now this is a true indication of what's happening within our county and within the villages, cities, villages within our county. So unfortunately, that hindered us instead of helped us as far as how that distribution went. So we'll have to just keep an eye on that and adjust going forward. So we benefited from that with sales tax, I believe, over long term, but now the use tax is taken a little bit different. So basically, use tax is if you went across state lines and bought a four-wheeler, that would apply through use. That's where the tax comes through on coming through over there as just a random example. So just included that just as an FYI, and we'll just keep an eye on it. But it is looks like it's going to be lower than previous activity, and we'll have to reset that budget amount. But as far as positive news, sales tax continues to flow more higher than it was a year ago. Income tax was higher as well, I believe. Income tax, yes, by a significant amount. So we'll continue to watch that. So just a couple of the highlights there and changes that picked up from prior year and activity. So I don't know if there's any specific questions there. Just wanted to inform everybody, you know, what I researched and found out about use tax. So.
Questions? No? Okay. Well, let's move on then to cash flow.
So cash flow, yeah, I just opened it up, the report through September, picking up some of the property tax. This is just estimates. You know, we'll update the actual once we get there. But as far as when Nick distributes, overall, no issues. Just spreading it out, looking down the road a little farther, with with the bond payments that are remaining and other activity taking place and the trends, and where we're sitting cash wise. So no issues there, unless there's any questions.
Any cash flow questions? No? Very good.
All right, and as I said, we'll have the completed annual comprehensive report. We'll email it out to everybody. It'll end up on the website. We're within a couple weeks here of completion. We also have all the filings and everything that we need to do. So everything's moving along there. So we'll get a copy out to everybody. But again, if you ever have any questions, feel free to reach out at any time with those questions, or we can cover it next month as well. So that's about all I had, unless anybody has any questions for me today.
Oh, looks like we're good, Steve. Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Okay. Do you have any new business? Seeing none. Any old business? Seeing none. Do I have a motion to adjourn? First by Hess, second by Miller. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Motion carries.